Hey, how's it going? It's Grant
and Shelby
with the Garden of Eater, and today we're going back, not all the way to the beginning, because I did a quick little read on the very first paragraph that I horribly wrote, where I did not care at all about my grammar or what people thought about my intellect at all. So I know we did have a couple of different types of shrimp already at this time, and we had up to 48 aquariums, but we're going all the way back to the Shrimp Spot, shrimpspot.com, and there they had a little section for people to post journals, and I thought that would be a great way to log some of our early stages of shrimp keeping. And it really has some of the oldest photos of our hobby, and a lot of the photos will show what the house looked like before we turned it into what it looks like now. And I think it's a good one, since we've been trying to play catch up, and it's been another busy weekend. We had some guests over at the house, and it's been a busy Monday. And I already thought about this one a while ago, and I think it's the perfect timing to dive right into it. So, you got something to say?
I just spent 10 minutes writing down everyone's name to say hello, and it erased it all.
Aw.
Love it.
All right. Well, hello everybody for Shelby, since she doesn't have to do it all over again. But we sharing screen. All right. So diving in, we have the Shrimp Spot here, going to the forums, down to journals, and then in the journals, scroll down until you find the journals of the Garden of Eater. And also, like, this is the forum where we started to get named TGOE. Shelby came up with the name the Garden of Eater, but then nobody really wanted to type out the Garden of Eater. So they started calling us TGOE. But the very first picture we have here is one of the old red cherry tanks. We've got one of Shelby's glass jellyfish in the tank before we figured out over time they crack. So don't keep your glass ornaments in the aquariums. And then you'll notice I didn't quite figure out how to make posts on the forum yet, and they started coming out upside down. So we've got some fire red cherries mixed in with just some normal grades, some culls. And then, we've got some people talking to us. But this right here is basically where we're sitting right now. I know it doesn't look like much, but if you turn to the right, that's the White Ugly Entertainment Center that you see there. It's something my dad built when I was a kid, and the floor was kind of built around it. And you can see there, we did our best to put aquariums on it, but we got like a 20-gallon high for Shelby's Cardinal Sulawesi. And then there was like 2 5-gallon tanks on the opposite side of that. We had room for the TV. And then, of course, the stands that are holding up I don't know how far I can go with that, the 55-gallon tanks that we have right when you walk in the door. Those are the same stands, just instead of 55-gallon tanks on top, we've got 4 10-gallon tanks, because Shelby was a little worried about me putting 55 gallons on top of them on the wall. But I think it's just a little bit more weight than the 10 gallons. And the stands were sturdy. They held through time. And those were like not the very first stands, but one of the first stands that we pretty much built here at the house to try and get more tanks in our space. But at the time, we thought this was max capacity, because we didn't think we could tear everything out and build a rack for 110-gallon tanks like what we have now. So how's it going, Fish Hippie? It was nice seeing you at the meeting. I assume that's the same Fish Hippie. It is. All right. My eyesight's horrible, but I can see the icon in the bottom. But
hold on. So welcome, and for anyone who becomes a YouTube member, you get a membership holographic sticker, and you get a 10% off discount code to our website. You just email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com.
And then you tore off the screen for the.
I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. We're going into chat.
Johnny said, "How many stickers have you collected, or have if you all counted for?"
So like
many.
stickers for shows. We have a door to Jaden's room, and I have no idea the amount of stickers we have on there. And then on top of that, we've got like 2 stashes of stickers that the window's still open if you want to shut that. Yeah. We had a little panic before the live stream. The AC was not working. It got a little hot in the house, a little warm, and I didn't notice until I was outside playing football with the kids. Came inside, and I was like, it's much warmer inside the house than it is outside. And for whatever reason, the float valve was stuck up, and the AC was off for I don't know how long, but we opened up the windows to cool down the house and got everything up and running. So it is nice and cool in the house for the live stream, but there was a very short little panic. You got something for us?
No.
But it's good now. I was just worried. I did a lot of work for nothing before I found out it was the valve, the float valve. I hate float valves. All right, then we've got some red cherries. Some real horrible photography going on here. I can't even remember what kind of cell phone we were using at the time. It wasn't any DSLR body or anything like that, but just some red Rillies. That one kind of has a blue body, but I don't think these were anything really special that I was focusing on. And then we've got some on some of that really old fluorite substrate that just breaks down to dust and never really wants to rinse out. But you'll see some of the names on there, like Soothing Shrimp and some of the OGs in the hobby that I learned a lot about. And then we've got some of Shelby's dart frogs coming up. And this was like day one when we first got them. This was one of the dart frog setups that we had on the countertops with all of Shelby's bromeliads. I think those are 2 different setups, aren't they?
No.
No, just one's blooming, one's not.
One's during the day, one's at night.
Oh, okay. And then one of our better videos is how we turned our outdoor, or how we set up our outdoor shrimp tubs. Well, this is what we had in the greenhouse before we did shrimp. I had a buddy, Zach, and he would come over, and probably like once a month, we would just tear this down and recreate and build a better koi pond. We had done a couple before moving it into the greenhouse. So this was one of our better ponds for sure. A lot of flaws, built it way too close to the edge of the greenhouse, but had a lot of fun with it. And then Shelby set up this little planter in the middle of the pond for us. And then, you got the chameleon cage up top there in the corner. It's a 6 foot by 6 foot by 7 foot tall chameleon cage where we did some veiled chameleons. And then the rest of the greenhouse we used for a Meller's chameleon. And some more of the goldfish. I believe that's Shelby's hand. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Whose hand would it be?
I don't know if it's my hands that girly back then.
That's mine.
Okay.
That's yours.
And then you want to talk about these?
These are the prawn that I killed. I forgot chlorine. One fatal mistake turned into a disaster.
After she talked about how much she wanted to get rid of them, the morning before I left for work, she's like, "Why do we have these? Do I really have to do a water change on these?"
I don't think they should have been inside in a tank. I wanted them outside in a pond, and you wouldn't do it. You wanted to see them, and I really did not mean to kill them.
They're dead. And then I don't even know what we got going on here. What kind of fish are in that tank? Some type of 20-gallon tall with a bunch of plants. Oh, these are for our pea puffers. So we used the red Rilly cull tank for the pea puffers. And they never really ate any of the culls. But when the culls reproduced and had babies, The pea puffers definitely went to town. Again, still couldn't quite figure out how to take photos. And here's proof that we had cholla wood. See, it's in the aquariums. Once upon a time, we used it. Thought it was great. And then we learned a lesson. Maybe you'll see, I don't know. But it definitely breaks down into too much mulm. Some really horrible photos. I think there's a little pea puffer right behind the Anubis. Man, yeah, just some really planted tanks with some of the red really culls and some cholla wood with some sawasatang. But yeah, we had a bunch of it back then. And then here's one of our old sirens. We found somebody who was looking for a bunch of sirens and newts. And I don't remember what we traded for them for at the time, but we found them a better home. I was really hoping to breed the sirens, and I think we had all males because they just had massive heads, but not so easy to ID them. Oh, we got
Peplin Creek, member for 15 months, said, Shelby and Grant, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
and have they messaged us with their address and information
so.
for one of the Sam Scales green kiwi tie bee prints? So you've been a member for over a year, and you qualify for one of the prints.
And you too, Eduardo.
You could have got it last month.
Thank you so much.
Miss you too. A little bit's changed at the house, but not much. In 2 weeks, that's when the big changes start happening. We'll be a little busy next week for Global, and then a little bit this weekend for Aquamania. But there's the sirens that we used to have, and then just a lot of comments. But that's just the first page. There's 34 pages. I don't think we'll get through all of them tonight, so this might be like a part 1, and will be probably part 2 or 3. But this is the tank rack that we used to have by the front door. And if you look at the top, there's a little tiny betta bowl with a little pothos growing out of it, hanging on the wall. And then here is a stand with 10 20-gallon talls. Had a bunch of different shrimp types in each one. This was back when we were still keeping a tiger and a neocaridina in each tank. But color of the walls are different now. We don't even have that ugly thing covering up the front door. Shelby painted a little mural. And
the cringy beta bowl on the wall, I didn't even see.
I already talked about it, but yeah.
That's cringy.
And then now that rack in that same spot, we have 32 10-gallon tanks. So we've come a long way, and you might even see us upgrade this rack in the end of this too. So, but not a lot to talk about there. Lots of comments though. And here we have one of our Pleco and Cory Cat tanks. We've got a bunch of stock and pretty much aquariums already set up when we bought 3 55-gallon tanks stacked on top of one another. And this is pretty much untouched. We haven't really done anything to that. And then we got some shrimp in the mail. This was the very first bag of Taiwan bees, and we weren't doing it right at the time. This aquarium is not the proper setup for them, and I quickly learned and set up a tank with the right substrates, and we'll get to that eventually. But I got some green hulks, some black King Kongs, some pandas, and 10 crystal red shrimps there. I got them in the bucket, getting them used to my parameters because my parameters are wrong. There they are in the tank, nice and blue, a little bit of green coloration to them. Not a lot, but oh, we're lagging. We're plugged in. What do we got going on? I went too fast, too far, too quick. But yeah, I don't even know what's going on in these pictures. So some babies, It's real horrible potato photography here. Got some orange eye blue tigers, some crystal shrimps, and a petri dish. Back then, I still thought you could get the food in the dish and the shrimp wouldn't take it out, but after time, it's just so annoying. You got anything else for us?
Johnny said, if you had to choose one, which would you pick? Kola wood or driftwood?
Driftwood for sure. I don't ever want to use cholla wood again.
Yeah, no, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And then Big Steve asked if you were Amish back then, too, which is funny. The only picture of you on this entire journal is him covering his whole face. It's just him holding boxes as we're shipping out. It's hilarious.
And then you can see scroll up just a little bit real quick. We spent the money on the mineral balls. They did nothing. Like, we had them in all the tanks at the time. We spent a lot of money for nothing, and we've learned like the do's and the don'ts, so you don't have to. You can go back down. And then this is Jaden's room. This is what my old bedroom used to look like. My dad was into NASCAR, so it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. themed. And you can tell I put tanks wherever I could, but there wasn't a lot of room. And this is right before I started to gut it all out. And yeah, there was tanks fully set up there. I had to kind of climb around and sit on top of the safe just to work in those tanks. I believe they were for crawfish. There was a lot going on in that room. But at the time, that's what I thought the best I could have. And then we got some blue velvets that we pulled out of the red Rilly tank. And that's what a true blue velvet should look like. No blue, dark blue, or splotchy pattern coloration to them. And some red crystals. Still haven't learned my lesson. They're still on that black aquarium gravel you can get at the Petco. Some alder cones, because why not? Let's waste more money. And then we've got some longfin, albino, and citrus bristlenose. And then here we have it, the first Carandina shrimp tank. Set it up in that horrible room, and got a double suction cup sponge filter, and then some stacks of cholla wood because I still didn't learn my lesson back then yet. A nice piece of Mopani.
Still in the tank.
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, no, this tank is still set up in our hallway. I did one section where it was cut off and siliconed with a sheet of glass there to prevent the substrate from going over. And having a bare bottom was a bad idea. All the food, all the shrimp poo, all the snail poo, it just made a mess. And it just, you had to siphon it up every time. And once the babies started coming, they were always down there, and you just could never get it done right without getting babies sucked up. So, and then it was ADA substrate. The best you could ever get, but no longer can you get this ADA substrate. It's just not the same kind. And even if you can get this kind, it's so old, chances are it's not going to last you very long anyways. So, and then this is the new tank.
I completely forgot about this tank.
Yeah, so we started with like 16 newts, and then in the end, this was my first and only baby. So we ended with 17 newts overall. And then I started to get some buried females in the other tank, and I was really in a rush to get that other tank cycled because I've gotten babies before, and I learned the reason why they weren't surviving was because I didn't have the right water, didn't have the right substrate. So let's see if we get there. See, at this time, I still haven't successfully bred Carandina shrimp. And here we got an update on the dart frogs.
Different dart frog tank.
Different dart frogs.
These are the bumblebees. Yeah,
So,
we got into a lot of dart frogs at one point.
Yeah.
Had like every color you could think of.
We eventually traded our dart frogs. Somebody was getting into dart frogs and getting out of shrimp, and it just made sense to do a good trade and swap out. We have some CPDs going into this tank.
No, CPOs.
CPOs?
The little dwarf crayfish.
Oh, yeah, that's
Orange. Right. We probably had CPDs at this time too, but I don't think you recorded that.
But you can see it's very, very horrible aquascaping. Nothing really impressive. We've got more pictures of the red cherries, pulling out some red lilies still.
This is Han's pumpkin food at the time. Han used to be a big shrimp breeder, and he made his own food, and it was really squishy and like really broke up really nice in the tank. Kind of miss it. It smelled good. Kind of like baby food. It was weird.
Han had a lot of cool, interesting foods that I'd like to bring back, but
his first buried
Taiwan beef.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's one of the green hulks that you can see they're kind of still green, but they're on their way to being black.
Johnny asked, when you won your first shrimp contest, which shrimp did you win with?
I believe it was the Black Tiger's orange eyes, and then I got some other. I had like 6 awards. I got like second place with my blue bolts. I can't remember the other ones, but I'm sure we'll come to it eventually in this journal. Actually, I believe I posted. So,
maybe. And these are your carbon relays.
Yep.
Very hard to see, obviously. These are terrible, terrible phones.
Terrible photos, terrible lighting.
These were like the first phones that weren't flip phones.
And then we've got one of our other ponds here with the snapping turtle. This guy was pretty friendly, and you could even touch its face without him taking a snap at you. And then we've got some wild Neocaridina here in the cull tank. It's coming from the chocolate offspring. So these are just the culls from the chocolate, Shelby pointed out. They look like wilds, though. And then the diamond shrimps throwing some reds, which would have been Bloody Marys. You're also getting some blacks in there and some carbon lilies, too. It's crazy how different lines of chocolates can throw different lines of carbons and blue diamonds. And then we've got some more Neo tanks with some blue rams in that one. We did get these to spawn, but they ended up eating their eggs. And then Shelby's crib cichlid tanks. A lot of these say my. And it was because I was keeping Shelby a secret back then. She was my secret weapon. So I couldn't let people know. I didn't want her to take you back then. Didn't want someone to take you from me. You know?
We got these at actually a local fish store. This is like, I think this is before we even went to like our first.
I always suggest
club meeting.
Support your local pet stores, but like the people we bought these from did not treat us very well.
Well, these ones actually ended up getting sick, and they didn't live very long, unfortunately. I love those, but that was the last time we shopped from them. That was the last fish that we bought from them besides discus when we tried to do breeding discus.
And then we got our alien eye blue crawfish here. And yeah, these guys give you some scares, and then we got some white ones. We went through quite a bit of a crawfish phase. Like, people always ask us to make suggestions on what we should do, and sometimes people throw out the whole crawfish. You can see we definitely got into crawfish, and the problem was finding homes for all the crawfish because they're super easy to breed, and the demand isn't really out there.
Steven said, any idea why I never see tangerine tiger babies? The females become buried, just no shrimplets. Crystals, King Kong, Shadow Mazuros all breed like crazy, but not the tangerines.
Are they in the same aquarium? Because I don't know why the tangerines wouldn't be breeding and everything else is. If they're in a different aquarium, I would say something's not stable. The pH has been swinging. You need to check the pH in the morning and then at night and see if there's any difference there.
And then Richard said, Grant, do emerald neos come from chocolates?
I believe they can. I'm not exactly positive, but Shelby can confirm. Like, we pull really nice greens out of our chocolates. We've just never had a time to select and breed those. I'm not sure exactly where the green emeralds come from, but like it's a myth that the greens come from like yellows or blues crossing or something like that. And I kind of believe it because they used to throw a lot of blues and yellows when they were babies or first brought in the United States. But the emeralds, they never really threw any weird colors. They bred pretty true. They do, almost breed or get so dark that they look black sometimes too. So they throw a weird orange one. The orange one's what throws me off. I broke off some of the orange ones into their own tank today.
Like, I can't believe this was sufficient at one time for you to be taking pictures. Like, look, I don't even know where you're talking about blue diamonds. Your diamond tank, and it's a red shrimp in the middle. Like, what are you even talking about? You said you got babies, and I can't even see it.
I have no idea.
This is insane. And people followed this. Like, people, it's crazy. Oh.
And then we've got another crawfish. This one's the marble self-cloning crawfish. So they have babies without needing a mate. They can clone themselves. They're asexual and have both male and female organs. Lots of babies really easily. We're using those for turtle food.
Oh.
I have no idea what's going on here.
Fancy guppy tank.
Yeah, it looks fancy.
That looks like a beta fish. So I don't know what you were thinking. Pad, that is definitely not guppies. They even look like mollies, honestly. These are definitely not guppies.
These are mollies. Some crawfish in there too.
This is cringy and great all at the same time.
I'll let you sit there and rag on me. It's fine. Man. I didn't read it.
Back in 2015. That's all it says. Is first two are my fancy guppy tank. Oh, and the famous pond. Why is it? Is it the website or is it our internet? I feel like it's the website.
Or it's because we're screen sharing. It's glitching. I have no idea.
Maybe. Yeah, because those are definitely mollies.
I don't know.
Platies. Yep. Look up. Yep, there they are. Platies. Which we have those now. Not these exact ones. These had to be the Mickey Mouse ones.
I have no idea. It's probably something we got from the clubs. We might have been going to club meetings at this time.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got the cycling Caridina tank. We threw in some Bellarmine hairgrass, some alder cones on the bottom, which are just going to help dirty it up even more.
Bugsy said, I was planning to try a bare bottom tank for a local fish store breeding project. Do you think I'd be better off with a substrate for yellow neos?
If you're putting yellow neos in, you absolutely have to have black substrate. If you don't, you're going to have a bunch of clear shrimp that nobody is going to be interested in at your pet store.
Tube Dog said, you got any black King Kongs you've been hiding from the site?
I might actually. Message me and I can feed them tomorrow and figure that out for you. But they might be a little smaller. Everybody always wants shadow pandas, and the shadow pandas come from the same tank as I have a lot of my King Kongs in. So you might be in luck.
Welcome in, Live and Dream Aquatics. You did forget to email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com. Just make sure you email us so I can get your prize that you won last Monday. Johnny Best said, are black tabby hard to breed, or what will you prefer? What other Caridina would be best to interbreed with black tabby?
Black tabbies are pretty easy to breed. If you want like some cool stuff to come out of them, throw in some Taiwan bee or other pinto genetics, and you'll start to get some cooler shrimp than just tabbies.
I find it funny that this tank is still going strong.
Yeah, we've never broken down one of our Caridina tanks. We've got some green tigers in that tank right now, and they still breed out, and the hair grass isn't in there anymore, but we'll probably see what plant takes over there in here soon.
It's such a strange mix of fish
African
in this.
cichlids.
And then we have an algae eater, a molly, and a pleco. Like, why did we throw the molly in there? That is so strange.
It's probably just left over from another project, and we needed somewhere to put it. And this was just like the community tank that from all the stuff we got from the fish club meeting.
Mm-hmm. We still have these skulls. Actually, one of them's in my leopard gecko tank. It's the one on the left because his name is Rex. Look at little cherries.
Yep. And then we got our axolotl, and you
This
can
is
check the date.
terrible.
This is before axolotls were popular and famous on Minecraft, and yeah, the kids really enjoyed having this guy.
Yeah. These were actually, I thought there was more than one in this because we got them to breed at this
And then
time.
that was just
too.
the first one.
Oh, okay. Before we got the other ones.
Yeah. Then there's the CPO crawfish, the Mexican dwarf crawfish we used to try and
Really like
breed.
crawfish.
Never really had any success with those ones. Back to Shelby's
Ooh.
dart frogs.
I love these ones so much. They look so much better in person because it's not just this like yellow, but they have this like blue color feet. It's so hard to see in the pictures, but they were definitely cool. The first time they made noise in the middle of the night freaked me out though. I was like, "What's in the house?"
And then we've got a massive pleco. I don't have small hands. They're decent, average male size. So you can tell that's a pretty big, large, like 2 foot pleco, maybe 2.5. And then a bunch of red rilly culls.
Really blooming on the rillies at this point.
And then the carbon rillies, which Shelby said several times we need to get a tank for those going inside. It's almost, we got another week of cold weather here in Florida, and then I think we're good to move the shrimp outside and fish outside. Or I don't know what I just said there. Then a yellow rilly, but never really had much luck with these. It seems like they always turn full yellow as they age.
Oh, the first time you tried Malala shrimp.
Yeah, so we kept these back in the day, and they weren't really popular. No one really wanted them, so we ended up getting rid of them. Not that far into it.
I'm trying to find the baby. I think that's the baby albino bristle nose on the tank. It's so cool.
Yeah, we just spread them out, put like one into every tank in the house. Figured I wouldn't have to feed them that way, and they grow up and have plenty of room.
Yes.
And we've got chocolates, carbons, and diamonds.
This looks like blue jelly then.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
it's a
very
carbon.
good grades.
It's
But,
it's just a low carbon really.
and then at the time, diamonds were such a dirty strain. Like, they could have been whatever. Nobody even wanted to call them blue diamonds. We would just call them diamonds.
Yeah, these were blue diamonds, which today almost all blue diamonds are so dark. They're almost black diamonds.
Yeah, they've come a long way. And then here's our first batch of axolotl babies.
Oh my gosh, you're so little. Thanks to my cat. Rest in peace.
The cat's probably still alive,
Yeah, maybe.
but the axolotls are
Axolotls,
not because of the
yeah.
cat. You made it sound like the cat's
Oh,
dead.
no.
The axolotls are
The
dead.
cat's definitely alive. Yeah,
The axolotl went through and made itself a sushi bar and ate all the axolotls.
You said that wrong.
What did I say?
You said the axolotl went through and made a sushi bar.
And ate all the cats?
No.
Oh, that would have been funny.
That would have been funny. No, the cat decided that these were perfect little snacking bowls. Yeah, we should have thought a little bit better about that. Axolotls have so many eggs. This is a bee tank.
Yeah, that's
Still on black substrate.
Yeah, we're getting to where like things start to get interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Showcasing your bettable.
So cringy. That thing lived in there forever though. As long as you keep the water clean, it was okay. But yeah, this was way before like internet was like real popular on sharing the Facebook groups. So that was real cringy. But this one got its proper tank. That's,
See, it was a guppy tank. Go up. The picture was just so bad earlier. Those are guppies in there.
Oh, okay. That's
It's
what
just
it
there
is.
was a betta too.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. These pictures are terrible. This is when I started my breeding project for my betas, which I just picked out a couple from Petco and just did it so that I could learn how to breed beta fish.
And then
This is also a bull, it looks like.
And then there's your babies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They were so cute. It was pretty easy. But I found out the hard way that you're not supposed to breed some betta fish. We had the IBC had happened like not too long, like a couple of years after I had learned, and I was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to have these," and they're like, "Yeah, don't breed that. It's horrible life for the fish because the fins are just not proper enough for them to swim with."
And then here's our blue rams breeding and spawning. We weren't planning on it. We
Looks
should have
like
took all the
fungus.
shrimp out of there, all the shrimp and fish out of there, but the eggs ended up getting eaten.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't realize that was up this whole time. Where are we? I had a question.
Looks like chat's booming tonight.
Yeah. Bugsy said, so with the bare bottom tank, I have painted the bottom black. Would that be enough to keep the color in the yellow neos?
It can. The problem is a lot of times the black is reflective and it's shiny and it just has light coming up from underneath it, and it might stress out the shrimp still. So I haven't tested it myself, but that's what I've heard from somebody else.
Jamie said, what are you guys bringing to Aquamania this weekend?
So I've already had somebody else reach out to us and ask us if we're bringing this and this. Basically, Shelby can answer what she's bringing shrimp wise.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I
know at least yellows, some reds.
These are all Neocaridina.
Blues. I just don't know which ones. They'll probably just be Blue Dreams, and then I might just bring some Carbon Rilly Coals because I have so many. I need to get rid of them.
And we have some red Rillies. I'll bring some red Rillies from inside the house. Probably bring some Red Riding Hoods because we got some red heads that I can bring too. And then for tigers, we got some Tangerine Tigers we can bring for sure. Maybe some raccoons, definitely some Stardust. But besides Neocaridina and tigers, we're really not planning on bringing much shrimp. So if you want something off the website specifically, let us know. We're also not planning on bringing a lot of product either, but we are bringing a good amount of plants like we usually do. A lot of them will be coming in from the nurseries, and we're not able to house them out in the ponds because of this time of the year. So it is an early show. We haven't had our normal quarantine process for the plants, but if they don't look good, we're not going to bring them. We'll at least have them for 4 or 5 days before the show. So, but we can always bring anything if you request it.
Yeah, just because it's a one-day show, we don't want to put any of the shrimp through stress and other things. So. Zach said, at what point did you transition to IBC totes? I'm going to purchase 10 of them and set them up in a similar fashion as y'all without totally ripping y'all off. Also, what colors to avoid putting in IBC?
Greens would be the only one. Greens and Rillies I wouldn't do in the IBC totes. It's just way too many of the ugly ones produce and breed, and then all they do is produce and breed ugly ones. And then it's a never-ending cycle of ugly shrimp making ugly shrimp in the back that you can't get a hold of. Black Rose is another tricky one, but we're able to still keep 90% of the shrimp in that pond at least high grade. So that one's doable, but everything else is easy enough. And I would say 2019 we switched over to IBC totes because I talked with Skyfish after the last international show that was held in Jersey, and he told me to throw the shrimp outside for them to get more color, to grow bigger, to grow faster, to grow quicker. I don't know if I said everything or if I double said one of them, but yeah, it was just overall better. And then talking with one of the other shrimp breeders, and he thought it was going to take me months, and I was like, nah, it's going to take me like a week. So lit a fire up underneath me, and I got it done.
Said I like how blue rams look. I've never owned any though. They were definitely really cool.
And look them up
Easy.
online because these pictures do not do them justice.
Yeah, they shine. Like you can see, it's actually not that bad of a picture. You can see the blue shining there, but they do definitely look a lot better in person. Like, we really loved rams, but like one of my favorite ones now are like they're all solid black rams now. What?
Check out Daku Aquatics, and he's on Instagram a lot, but he's got the ram connection here in Florida for sure. He home
breeds them. Sorry, not a connection. He
is the connection. All right, sorry.
Jamie said they'll take some Stardust and Ridleys. We should have like a section, a folder for like show request, so we can check it before.
Yeah,
that'd be a good idea. So email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com, and then I will separate and put those into a special folder. So hopefully we won't forget, because we're very forgetful people. It is not fun trying to run a business and forgetting things. We're awful. One of us has to have a good memory.
Neither of us.
Neither.
Layla has the memory, so
yeah.
when she grows up, she can start handling this.
Oh, all right. Let's continue. Oh,
more dart frogs.
I didn't think we were done with the dart frogs. Patricia.
At this time in my life, I still didn't think we were going to go full-time shrimp breeders.
Yeah,
so this was still hobby and sharing everything.
He definitely wanted to do more shrimp. I was still heavy into like, no, we're not getting rid of reptiles. These were definitely, every time we went to the reptile show, I had to stop at the dart frogs. And fun fact is actually we have 2 huge terrariums to set up for my dart frogs again, and we have not had the time, and it's stressing me out now that I'm seeing all these dart frog pictures. Oh
dang, that's all I say for that one. Dang, that's shrimp. Dang, I don't know. Lost for words
because
here.
There's so many different ones in the tank. Maybe
looks like eggs galore, because that's what you can see back then.
Mm-hmm.
I must have had really good eyesight back then. This isn't a bad photo. Like it's somewhat all right.
No, they're terrible.
That one's not.
This is actually how our website looked at first too, and people still. Hey, it's a little bit better, but
it's a little bit better, but not on all of them.
It looks like we take our pictures with a flip phone.
Oh, but here it is. I think we're about to move.
When you actually start to work on it.
Oh, no. Not yet.
No.
Wait, is there shrimp in there?
Yeah, that looks like there's a baby.
I don't know.
What are you taking a picture of?
I don't know. This
it's
is
yourself
incredible.
Reflection. You're like, look at myself. This is funny. What were people getting from this, honestly? Nothing. Zero.
There's so many people that were tuning in every day to watch it. Though.
Oh, look. This is the first time we ever had parrots. That's crazy.
Didn't last very long.
No, it doesn't. It does sometimes. Like, you got to have a good tank for it.
Yeah.
We had hard water. It doesn't really like the harder water.
No.
And look how tiny that little CPO is. Oh.
And then building another tank stand here. This isn't my usual tank stand builds. This is for one of the racks that we moved into the garage now and then replaced already by the back door.
Yeah. Wow. We still built and painted all that in Jaden's room all the time.
And then we got paint on it. And then the first Sulu tank right here. This is when I think we started to get serious. And I was thinking that I might be able to start making this my full-time job.
Yeah,
I know the Sulu was the turning point.
Oh, doggy in the background.
Where?
This is my tank. He loves to take credit for this quite a bit in this.
Hold on, let me tell my story about this. So this is where I started to get serious, and I knew I wanted to get more shrimp and start investing more money into this. And I came across like a website that had a bunch of different shrimp available that I didn't have. And I brought the phone over to Shelby and started scrolling with it. And as I was getting through the list, she saw the cardinals and she really liked those. And I go, all right, that's the next shrimp that I'll be able to get into the house. So if you have a significant other and she's not too fond of adding more, but she at least knows what your niche of the hobby is, scroll through a bunch of photos, figure out which ones are her favorite, and then try and convince her that they're her tank. And then in the end, she'll still think that they're hers to this day.
If the live stream just ends with no particular reason.
Send help.
KJ East, dart frogs are cool, but much harder to ship. Yes, that is true. Much harder to ship. I would never ship dart frogs. We are very lucky to live in the state of Florida where we have like Repticons every weekend, if not like not every weekend. Goodness gracious.
Once a month.
Once a month, and we would be able to offload any dart frogs that I ever have. So I would never be worried about it.
I think the price of dart frogs has gone really down. Or maybe it's gone really up again. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't see
the laws change things a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. Flip-flops with reptiles a lot. Jenna said we just got our first reptile a little over a week ago, a gargoyle gecko. That's really cool. I haven't had one of those. I remember you saying something, and I recommended leopard gecko because those are super easy for kids too. But I heard the gargoyles are pretty easy as well, and like they're really popular amongst kids right now.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I hope that goes really well. Yeah, they're cool. I don't know. I've never liked the crested geckos or like the other looking. The gargoyles are a little bit cooler. They kind of freak me out. Like their little hands freak me out. Oh, ew. It looks like gills. Like, have you ever looked at them? They've like got like these gill looking. Ooh. Lady R says, on the topic of terrariums, I would love some advice on putting together a vertical exoterra for a terrarium. Looking into acquire either a cresty or some European tree frogs.
So my favorite way to set up a terrarium is to buy a bunch of really nice cork pieces and then lay them down in the tank, put the tank down on its side, and then get some of the waterfall spray foam and just be very sparing, maybe do layers because we did crack the first tank we tried to do this with, and the problem is the foam expands and pressed the glass and basically went through the glass and cracked it. And after the foam sets and hardens, you can carve it, and then you can take some silicone and put it over the foam and some of the cocoa fiber and cover it, and you make your own little background. And then the lava rock to make a little false bottom so that way it can drain, and then do a really nice bio layer and set it up early and get a bunch of little microorganisms set up in the tank to establish a good little ecosystem before you put the geckos in there. And that's really the best advice I can give you, is set it up weeks in advance. 2 months is great time, and it's not necessarily cycling. You're more just growing out the springtails, isopods. There's a plethora of little different types of bugs that you can get started in the tank, but you got to look them up for the species that you're keeping.
Sibley said, be careful with reptiles. I bought a pair of Uris, and within 3 months had 3 crested geckos and a gargoyle gecko. Black Friday is part of the problem. Yeah, we have a problem going to Repticons anytime we see it. We started in reptiles and then moved our way to the fish hobby. Reptiles will always have my heart for sure with the chameleons. Even our daughter really loves reptiles, and then our son's a big snake kid. So I find it funny that we do fish and our kids are more into to the reptiles. So they will be coming back. It's just we have to be at a point where I'm home in order to take care of those animals, because Grant can't take care of everything. Like, he's already doing enough as it is, and those things would be something I would have to have responsibility of. So
we got to breed crickets and worms before we get the chameleons. But we've always had a thing for turtles and newts and sirens, obviously, and we're already back into those. So it's just a matter of time before we're into everything else again.
Yeah. I mean, we literally have the setups for everything. We have 2 chameleon cages, 2 giant terrariums, and they're just sitting there waiting for us to have the time, because we know as previous, like, we know to not just jump into anything anymore. We know to take our time and be ready for it, be prepared, have a good established tank before you bring something in. You'll just have a healthier animal, more success with them, breeding them and enjoying them all together. You want to give them the best life possible. So we've been through it all. So we're just going to run right back through it. Easy V Rider said, I'm actually learning a lot from this, and it makes me feel a lot better as a shrimp keeper. Yes, that's kind of like the point where Grant wanted to make, is like where we started. It's, not everyone goes and can have everything at once. We did start somewhere, and it might be a little cringy, but it shows everyone you could do what we do.
And we really did use one shrimp tank to pay for the next one, to pay for the next one, to pay for the next one type of situation. I might have had everything I needed already to set up like the first 3 to 5 aquariums, because we did leopard geckos, we did chameleons before we sold all of that to do our landscape business, because we didn't have time to take care of crickets and worms for 2 hours every single day, because that's what we were doing before we started doing shrimp. So everything else was just kind of like, all right, what can we manage with our day-to-day lives? And well, shrimp became the easiest thing as we started cutting back, as you'll see on everything else, because shrimp was just, it made more sense to keep moving forward, and kind of saw where it was headed.
Abstract, since we're talking about reptiles, I want a lychee gecko. They're gigantic. They're huge.
I need to get more water.
Yeah, they're like the biggest of the geckos. That's crazy. KJE said, I got botanicals for all that bioactive stuff. Yes, we definitely know you're the one with botanicals. We were actually talking about that the other day.
That's the only reason why I like them, is for the terrestrials. And the cory cats and like the pencil fish would be great. Just not in my clean shrimp tanks.
I also probably need some botanicals coming up for my isopods. We'll be starting those again. I think I convinced my dad to let me swap out all his bins and put isopods in them. So he's already got a huge rack system. We'll just get a fill with isopods. Welcome in. See a lot of people joining in. Let's see if I can go on with this. My Sulu tank. Grant tries to take credit for. There we go. And there's the finished tank stand. Yes, this whole 330s. They are in the garage now. I have flagfish and killiesfish in these now. Here's that tank again. He really loved this tank. It seriously does have this piece of wood in it. The only thing different about this tank, honestly, would be that there's red moss in it, and it fills like the whole bottom of the tank. So there's that rack set up. So much soil in the middle tank. This is crazy. This bred a lot of shrimp for many years in the corner. If you actually watch the rack that I built, we tore this rack down. It had been up forever. Tore it down to put those 16 10-gallon tanks, which hold the Sulawesi to the Neos, and then Caradina on top of the fridge up here. This is on the other side of our fridge. This little indents the fridge. So, yeah, just another planted tank with that I think this is the red fluorite that there is. There's the tank settling down now. I believe this middle tank was a blue dream tank for the longest time. This bottom tank went through a lot of cycles. More of his, these were awful pictures, but then we got to go out. I believe this is Cruise Lake when we went out to Cruise Lake for the day with the kids. We didn't get out very much when we were building all this stuff. And there's cycling of the tank. Finally done with his Caridina tank. And there, I believe these are the ones he was going to switch over. More carbon realies. Seems to be a theme here on this same
those
trend.
those are me moving.
I know.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
So then, yes, here's the Taiwan bees. Wow. Wrecking everything.
up.
Yes.
Sorry.
And these are the Taiwan bees going into that tank finally. All cycled. Look at the bag of Purgeon and the sponge filters. That actually was pretty good. A lot of people do use this method still.
Plamsky was using it in a way too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think at the time we stopped doing it because it did seem cost efficient. Then we learned out years later on how to, you can renew Purgeon.
I still don't want to do it with the chlorine and everything. It scares me.
Yeah, so we just haven't ever done it. But it's if someone can do it, it's successful for some people. Here's the Sulu tank all set up. This is the crushed coral and argonite mixed, and then I really wanted to just put a ton of lava rock out so that they had hiding spots. Because where Sulu come from, they're usually caught hiding under rocks. So I thought my great idea was to just put a bunch of rocks so that they could hide.
And you can see how dirty the bare bottom's already getting. So I was already upset with it. Indian almond leaf. Also, Indian almond leaves the only only leaf that we use that's been scientifically proven to have high antifungal and antibiotic properties. So if you already use leaves out there, Indian almond leaves are definitely the ones to use. Check out these yellow Neos without the racing stripe. I know there is one racing stripe there in the back, but majority of these don't have it, and that's very rare. Still waiting on LJ to send me some Laura whenever you got those. I'll take them. I want to do a video on them.
More carbons, which is funny because these are terrible carbons. Like that was sought out for in the hobby, and they were just awful, honestly. We have some great ones now. Like I literally can't help to get carbons all the time now. It must have just been the specific line of shrimp we got. There's some blue velvets, apparently crossed with some blue rillies. You get some weird funky color right in there.
Some red cherries. And then
that bristle nose tank again.
Yeah.
Still looks good. Didn't change much besides the lily pads finally made its way all the way to the top. We had a lot of stuff in that tank. Holy cow.
Yeah. It came with a lot of stuff in that tank.
Yeah. And then a Taiwan bee baby, supposedly somewhere here. It's probably on that glass, that little tiny speck over there. Like, I don't understand this. More of the mineral balls. You know what's funny? We still find some today in our tanks that are really old. They might just be accidentally shoved under the substrate.
No, it's just over time they just fall through because they're heavier than the substrate. So
yeah. But yeah, this was doing good. There's the red moss. Yep. This is when we got it. Wow. Back in 2015. The whole tank is overtake. It's not a moss, it's more of an algae. So it kind of grew on every piece of wood and everything in there.
And those little pieces were $30 each. So when I sell it's not huge. When I sell the golf ball portion that isn't tied down onto a flat piece of stainless steel mesh, it does better in my opinion, and you get a lot more of it. But there's not a lot of people with it out there. It grows really slow, and it's not the easiest thing to grow. We've moved it into a couple of tanks where it's been unsuccessful, but There really is nothing to it. You just kind of let it do its thing, and you can take over. It's the only thing in that tank still to this day. So there is some of the Hawaiian waterfall moss like still hanging on, and some Sawasser tang, but it's not like stuff that I want in there.
That's so funny. Jeff Kane saying, "Look at that beautiful cholla wood." Get out of here. That just became a mess. That actually caused a mess in that tank. We had to take it out.
Yeah. But there's one of the babies. I can see the baby there.
Oh, yep.
Right in the middle.
Dead center. Look at that little baby. That one actually looks really good too. That's back when like most of the babies came out like looking blue and green, and you get like really excited thinking you're gonna have like a green Hulk, and then it was just disappointment.
Yeah. It's really hard to breed things
one.
for lower grade.
Another baby.
So weird.
Sorry for the bad
cherries.
picture. You should have said that before every post, though. Oh man.
But
another baby.
Yeah, I was just so happy every time I was getting the Caridina babies, because before this we had been keeping them in tap water basically, and we weren't getting any babies. So I'm really happy when I started seeing a bunch of babies.
That was these are baby Cory cats.
No, those are baby Plecos.
But it said the Cory cats, so it's got to be these ones.
That's in the middle there. See it? That's a Cory cat. That's a Cory cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so hard to see.
Horrible photos, horrible lighting. Also, some of these tanks
leaves?
might not even had lighting. So.
Is this banana? These are banana leaves, are they not?
I have no idea.
It looks like banana leaves from our tree.
Or big catappa leaves.
No. Catappa leaves are not square like that. Here's catappa leaves.
More babies. See.
Look at almost pirouette. There's the Sulu tank with the beautiful rabbit snails. That was cool. I think that was the first orange rabbit snails we got.
Yeah.
Now we have whole tanks of it. It's so funny when people come over and look at those tanks too. They can't believe how many rabbit snails we have in there. I'm gonna wait for that. Let me go back. I'm trying to keep up with the comments too.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You're a whole hour behind.
Zach said, "Do you guys think CPO crayfish could breed outside in an IBC tote?"
I'm sure they could, because there's people that out here in Florida that are breeding them outside. So I just know they require a lot harder water than what we have right out of the tap. So I would still have to like add in oyster shell or something else to get them to increase their hardness of the water, because they didn't do well in our hot tub is where we try to keep them. But our hot tub was overflowing into the pool, and they didn't seem to do very well.
Freaky Fish Lady said, "What are your black shrimp called?" I'm assuming you mean
Black Rose or the Black King Kong.
Black shrimp called. I don't know. Are you talking about Caridina or Neo-Caridina? Because we have Black Rose shrimp that are Neo-Caridina, and then we have Black King Kongs, Black Galaxy. We got a lot of black shrimp that are Caridina. Stephen P says, "I renew Purgin, but I'm extra paranoid about it. After the bleach, I'll soak them in extra ultra dechlorinated water for a long time and change out that water." That scares me too much. Like, I feel like it's just going to be another mistake of the prawns again and forget to soak it, or sorry, that was so loud. I probably wouldn't forget to soak it, but I don't think I'd soak it long enough. All right, let's move on to this so you can talk about that while I'm looking at.
And we've got our outdoor ponds. When we first got into shrimp keeping, I was reading a website that was talking about making a side hustle from home. They also did lilies and fertilizer, and these pond schematics came straight out of their website as well. So I really read all I could off of this guy's website and put it into play. Grew a lot of mint out of there. Keeps
Chocolate
the rats and vermin away. And then we did koi in there. And that pleco was also in that setup as well. And then more of the Taiwan bees and red
love
cherries,
those
and then we're
reds.
adding in more of the other Taiwan bees into the tank because I learned about the genetics and I wanted to make my own Michelins. Also, they were breeding in there. I don't know why we got platies and cup, but they're definitely
Probably-
breeding for us.
Yeah, probably breeding. Oh, cut into the pond. We put those in the pond.
Ah, for the snapping turtle.
Oh my gosh, we had so many platies at one time breeding, but they do not survive the winter very well.
And here we have it. I started gutting the old bedroom, getting rid of everything, and zero carpentry skills whatsoever. Nobody had taught me how to do any of this. So completely going through with a sledgehammer and just knocking it out.
Look how
And,
bad it is right here.
Yeah. So,
You can literally see like the hammer hits. It's so funny.
and that's not mold on the walls. That's dirt from my soccer ball from me kicking the soccer ball at the wall. So it definitely needed to go. And I think these were our first packages or just some packages that
It
we
says
had.
some. It doesn't say the first, but knowing you. Oh, look, there's a baby gate up. That's
And-
how little our kids were.
and the doggy door was still the original doggy door.
Yeah. Now it's like twice the size on a huge mud flap. Dogs just run through it like it's nothing. Look at them beautiful yellows. Still have good yellows. They just have the racing stripe. What is that?
Boost. It's
Oh.
like our first boost
looked
on
like
some
there was
choya
an
wood.
animal coming out. I'm like, what is that?
No,
What
that's
did
just
we
the
get?
rhizome.
I thought it was like the panda cories. Oh, look how big this snapping turtle got. There's a picture of Grant's leg. Aw,
Yeah, he grew up pretty big.
yeah.
And then we've got some more crystal shrimps trying to make the Michelins. And then you can see that bare bottom getting nasty.
It's not too bad, but it's just not something to really look at. Like, I don't know. Oh, look at them cardinals.
We've got the cardinals in the tank.
About to cry.
I don't know
miss them
how
so
long
much.
it was that it took us to set up that tank, but I remember it wasn't a full 30 days.
Yeah, we got a little too excited about that
And
one.
they still did all right, but I highly don't recommend it.
Yeah. And then one of our most successful ones we actually did for quite some time. I think we set that up for like a month and a half because we actually grew algae on the rocks on our 75. And that was like the best tank. We had so many
It was just
going.
a 55.
55? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the
It's
same
still in the
tank, but
garage.
yeah.
Now we have roseline
Roseline.
sharks in those. So Big Steve said, "Oh, he's still calling the prawn incident an accident." Yes, I actually would
Let
never
Shelby
do
tell
that
the
on
story.
purpose.
I didn't want to do it.
And Brandon says, "Do what? Not familiar with the prawn incident." Yeah, Grant was still working landscaping at the time, and he had a 55-gallon full of prawn shrimp, and I wanted him to put them out in those lovely ponds we just showed you a couple minutes ago, thinking, that's where they'd go, but he wanted to see them inside, and I told him that I didn't like them. I thought they were kind of creepy inside, and I was like, they really should just go out in the pond. We're wasting a 55-gallon tank that could be for like angelfish or cichlids, like some kind of fish that I wanted in a 55-gallon tank. And he went to work that day. I did a water change, and I forgot the chlorinator. And I believe that I forgot it in both 55 tanks that I did on that side. But the fish survived. The prawn did survive, okay? And I put some in, but the problem is that one of them died in one of the like skull stupid things we had in the tank. Never saw it, and you kind of got like this weird smell, and you're like, where is that coming from? And I took it out, and it caused an ammonia spike and killed the rest of them. So did not do it on purpose. Otherwise, all of them would have been dead at once and not made them suffer, okay? It was definitely an accident. 5 said member for 5 months. Says great content, y'all. Shelby looking good as always. Grant is so relaxed. Love y'all. Keep enjoying what you're doing. I
Glad
can't
I
breathe
looked
tonight.
relaxed because my neck is killing me trying to look forward at all the pictures of
Grant's
the
so-
horrible photography I had back then. God, this will be easier in 10 years.
Yeah. Maybe. Thank you so much, Vibes. Passing Wind said, "What's a good supplier to get one pair of fancy guppies to breed out?"
I would look into J. Oliver Guppies. He's
Yeah.
a great supplier of guppies.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, if you ever have like actually don't know where you're located. If you could, there is a lot of times they have the live bear shows, and if you ever happen to be next to a live bear show, they will have like the best guppies ever. You'll pay a pretty penny for them, but definitely get some awesome guppies.
And then if you've ever heard of Frank Chang, or if he's in your area, he's another person I highly recommend who breeds nice guppies.
All right, on to the next page.
There's some blue bolts.
I feel like that's the first blue bolts you had.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, kind of look like blue steels. You changed so much.
Just very low grade. This is like one of your first scapes.
Yeah, resetting up a cichlid tank. I had seen a lot of people's cichlid tanks over the years, so I was like, I'm just gonna make a rock pile.
Which that slate had metallic flakes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
a lot of our issues with the fish might have been coming from that. So lesson learned.
Why did we take another picture? This is the same stand. Must have been
Because you had
updated.
rescaped
Oh,
it.
yeah. See, it
So it
looks
looked
really
different.
cool. This is when we had the black painted backgrounds on the tanks too.
Well,
Where are
that
those
tank
things?
is still set up. Your swords are in it in the garage.
Huh.
Yeah, that's that tank.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we moved them all because that's just driving me crazy now that the one's not painted. That probably drove me crazy back then too.
And then we got some plants from one of our horrible local fish stores. They didn't do very well.
And more CPS. We had those like crazy.
Tried them several times. Our water just wasn't hard enough. And I didn't figure out that until later on. But we did have some really nice longfin albino and citrus.
Yeah, we lucked out with the deal we got for those stands. They came with them pretty much.
Yeah, it was 3 55-gallon tanks complete with cories, bristle nose, substrate, filters, swords, ferns, moss, guppies, and those in citrus.
Back when
For
we
$105, if I didn't say that.
had
Plates,
them
everything.
Malawi shrimp breeding. But yeah, like he said, when we first did them, they're like no one cared about them. Like
Yeah,
no one.
They were like the ghost shrimp of the Sulu.
Some people hyping us up, saying the most interesting journal ever written.
Shrimp Scales was one of the coolest guys in the hobby. He helped me get some of our original stock of blue bolts and Taiwan bees. And I know him. He imported them from a separate person that most of the people got theirs from, and his were pure still, and not mixed into the Taiwan. They were German lines. For the Germans try to catch up.
Skipper Aquariums, member for 4 months. Thank you so much. It's nice. Like the journey.
I thought this would be something like most of the real old time. Oh man, members from the beginning would really enjoy to go back to see where we started from.
Zach said, have y'all gotten scientific and gotten into doing your own tissue cultures? I'm definitely interested in the process, just not sure if it's worth the time.
I have heard that because of the aquatics, they need a super, super sterile environment, and it's harder than doing mushrooms. I know somebody who's been trying to do it for a very long time, and they're unsuccessful, and like they do stuff for space travel and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that's something I could see us having time to do or anything like that. So it's something you want to look into. I think Crypt Keeper might be doing it. I can't remember who in our circle is attempting to make tissue cultures, but I don't think it's as easy as it looks like. And in the very beginning, like tissue cultures were like all different. The companies that have tissue cultures now either weren't around in the beginning or they have changed their little gel structures like 2 or 3 times. So I think they're still learning on how to crack that code a little bit better.
Kayla's just, I like my Malala, but I'm pretty much a shrimp nerd at this point. They are actually more popular now than they used to be. And I think that's because a lot of people don't breed them and didn't have success with them. We have some and they breed, but then they stop. It's so weird.
I had pulled the heater on their aquarium, plugged the heater back in. They are breeding again, just not mad like crazy, but we threw the blue-legged posos into their aquarium, and now we have Malala shrimp with like drastically different colored eggs. So it'd be interesting to see if we got a little crossbreeding going on. I would say the Malala and the blue-legged posos are like the 2 closest looking Suluase shrimp.
Let me just show you our experience with Choyo wood. Okay, like we definitely have.
You make fun of me for saying a lot of stuff.
I say this word.
I can laugh at you for the Choyo wood. Choyo wood? Choyo wood? How did he say it?
Shalalo.
Shalalo wood.
I'm gonna say it wrong every time. I hate this stupid wood. I could just burn it every time. You know, we actually did find some at Hobby Lobby at one time, which is funny because we were like, it is bare wood at the bare whatever wood, and no, there is cactus. There's bare wood too. It's bare cholo wood, whatever you want to call it. But
the teddy bear cholla wood. It's still
I like
cactus.
that one. Chalupa wood.
When they get soft enough at the end of their life, you can put them in between the tortilla, and
Oh, I can't. They're awful, but yeah, we absolutely loved it because you could shove any plant into the little tiny holes, and it would work really great for growing. But then, like this beautiful tank here, we had this tank forever, and it just became completely covered in mulm, and like we're just not mulm people because you can't really see what's going on. If you start to have deaths and they can kind of just fall below the mulm, you can end up having ammonia spikes. There's probably a whole list I can go on about why we don't like mulm. Some people it's successful. Us, when we're trying to mass produce shrimp, it's just not for us. Maybe Neos can take it. Caridina are just not really what you want to have a ton of mulm in there. And what are you doing here?
That's just the rack on top of the tank. I think I'm tearing
water changes here.
I'm swapping out substrate, so I'm getting rid of the Caridina tanks or the Neo Caridina tanks for Caridina tanks.
Yeah, this is how cringy this is. That bucket is him doing water changes, dripping into the tank before we had a pump to pump water back into the tank. I lifted
so many buckets back in the day. Like my back hurts a lot from doing landscaping and maybe a little bit more extra because of the buckets, but yeah, my life was upgraded. We did all 4 of those tanks, not just 2.
Oh yeah, it took us forever to catch all the shrimp out of these. I remember it. I remember you asking me for help, and I didn't want to do it. It's like no way. Like to like when you're cleaning out a fish tank, it's so easy to get all the fish out. When you're cleaning out a shrimp tank, it is not easy to get all the shrimp out. I'm telling you, there will always be babies left, and so hard to get out.
If you're breeding, at least.
Yeah.
Got some red Rillies with the blue body.
Our RBBs.
And then here we have the room.
We had to do this again. This is so funny that it's cut the exact same way that we had to redo Jaden's room when it flooded.
But you see, we tarped off the tanks because we didn't have any room to put these tanks. So we did this whole knockout of the room.
There's the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Slung the sledgehammer, and then now it's time to get the floor scraper out and get the rest out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These little, what is that flooring called?
I don't know, plastic tiles.
Yeah, they're the glue the glue you used for this was awful. He had to get this gigantic metal thing to take all that off. It's awful. We still have that. I think it works great.
And then we've got the boat pond. I had a customer that wanted to get rid of the pond. The pond or the boat. The boat had a hole in it, but I was like, oh, if I put a pond liner in it, I can just use it and keep it as a pond. And we put some flowers in the side, some banana plants in the other side, and we use this to breed a lot of crawfish, the self-cloning ones outside for our turtles.
I think we also had the platies in this as well. We just kept breeding platies like crazy.
Probably. It is funny how much like people thought we did, how much work people thought we did back then.
It was still quite a bit.
It was a lot, but like I feel like
fixed.
I was learning, so it took me so long just to figure things out compared to now where we just knock it all out. But horrible drywall work. Like this is atrocious.
It
like
wasn't that bad.
Everything.
It could be worse.
Everything. I don't even think I did YouTube. I just like looked it up online and read a website page on what I should do.
Look how giant that sledgehammer is. I saw it was a smaller one in the last picture. I think you were just done at this point.
I think that's the smaller one that I have too. It's not even the one that I have from when I was a baby and I drove the truck through the neighbor's house across the street. Yeah, I have a sledgehammer from driving a truck through a house. The only thing that stopped me from going through the entire subdivision of houses down the entire mountain in Hawaii was the fact that this neighbor across the street was building a car and had an engine mount in his living room that I ran into. I was only 3 years old, though.
As you can see, this tank was doing really well. As long as you set it up the right way, you actually have some breeding going like crazy.
But at this time, I had also had all of those shrimp from those upper racks in that tank because we were cycling and getting the other ones ready before I could break them up.
More blue velvets.
And then again, blue velvets kind of fell off because people stopped buying those too. Yeah, also the red rillies. Like I lost all of those lines. Here's one of the coolest foods. I want to bring it back, and it's just beets, red root beets, and they
like
made a really cool effect, especially if you like we were throwing a birthday party for Jaden, and all the kids are like, "Oh, there's blood in the tank. What are they eating?" And I'd be like, "The kid that misbehaved," you know. But I couldn't say that. I didn't go that far.
Craig says, every Tuesday I'm eating prawns and watching this stream. It might be a sin, but I'm good with that. See?
It's Monday for us. I forgot it's Tuesday for you.
No.
I didn't even think of that.
Ashley said the boat pond is awesome. Yeah, I miss it a little bit, but it was also like always a pain. There's always something to do with it.
Yeah,
I don't remember the reason, the real reason we got rid of it. I don't know if it was just like the tarp had ripped or something.
No, I thought we were going to do something else in that spot, and I think we did temporarily, but it didn't last very long.
Look how green these looked when we first got them.
Yeah, they were great at first, but when they turned black, it just all my hopes and dreams died. And then we got some grouts for the pea puffers, or some pea rocks, some pea rock gravel.
That's yeah, we just put the pea gravel in there. Oh, this is the tank we talk about in some of the live streams. We'll mention that we put crayfish and shrimp together. This is the specific tank that we actually did that. And
this is the 10-gallon tank where I don't think we had shrimp.
Yes, we did. Right by our bedroom door. This is where it's at on the white shelf. And we had shrimp in this tank eventually. And we watched it sit on its claw. And it went to like go snip at the shrimp, and it was too fast for it to eat it. So that's why we knew that they could live together.
Eventually. What I know this tank for is we put 2 crawfish all by themselves in that tank at first with just a divider, and they both ended up getting pregnant.
The divider right there.
And they both got pregnant. So it was like, how did that happen? And that's a different crawfish on the other one. Yeah. So those are 2 separate crawfish, and they're both holding eggs. Mm-hmm. It was so weird.
And then all the shrimp by the Persian getting dirty, as you can see. It works. Just have
Well,
to
that
replace it
ADA at
constantly.
first definitely leached out a lot of micronutrients. So,
And there's a little cardinal there.
and we actually got these from a guy who was home breeding them, and then our first sale was to that guy because his had crashed, and we had kept that line going for like 8 years until we decided to break it down from a 55-gallon aquarium into a 10-gallon tank. And we split them up into 2 different tanks, but they just didn't like it very much. I think they were quickly devoured by the rabbit snails who just thrived in that tank for whatever reason more than the shrimp. And then we got the black, or the chocolates.
There was no really
starting to
black
breed.
rose
Yeah.
at that time. It was mainly just chocolates, which you get like some Bloody Marys, which we have chocolates. Like they're just lower grade black rose.
We also were in the scroll up. We are also using the floaters at the time. We had some frog bit in that tank, and we quickly learned that the roots will just get into the substrate and cause their own issues. So,
Yeah.
more cholla wood. I'm getting ready to find out.
I didn't know it took us a couple of years after that.
Yeah. Or alder cones.
See, I like
or
alder
mineral
cones.
balls.
People actually use alder cones. I would know some breeders that actually use alder cones with their eggs. Alder cones are a good option. But I wouldn't suggest putting this many in a tank. I mean, like maybe 1 or 2 at a time and let them break down.
I would just like to go back in time and prevent all the money that we wasted and spent on bullshit. Oh man. And just spend it on like rare strains of shrimp that were there back in the day, you know?
And Taiwan bee breeder box, trying to selectively breed some shrimp there. It's funny that this tank is over here. I don't remember it being here, but it clearly
I remember
it was.
that it was back by the back door.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I built that rack to move. We were already showing us building that rack, but I had to build that rack to move the tank so I could work on the room. So it was a process.
Yeah. Doing good. The cardinals were breeding pretty
baby,
good.
I think. Or
no,
you were already showing babies before.
We were just always taking pictures anytime they came out. Because you didn't really see them that often. You just see like 1 or 2 here and there. And then like you pick up all the rocks and you realize there's quite a bit in there. And here's an update of the bedroom. This took us quite a bit. Like he said, we had never done any of this before. And we were both working full-time jobs. So this took a little bit. And then you can see the montage of the tanks. We had to kind of shove all in the corner because of the amount of work and time it took us to do this. We didn't want to get rid of any of the tanks. So just kept them up.
A lot of work, but in the end, where you see where we're at today, it's crazy.
Looks like you did replace the purgeon in this tank. It actually looks really clean right there. Like you did replace it at one point.
I think I was replacing it like anytime it was brown.
Yeah. Which would
so
make
worried
sense.
about it.
More of the same shrimp.
That one's nice and blue.
Yeah. Which was crazy because they held their color for quite a bit, but you don't really see them anymore in the hobby at all. They're just mainly black now. Is that your first blue tiger? Orange-eye blue tiger?
No. I had orange-eye blue tigers before
I
even started this up. Yeah. It was one of my first shrimp.
There's the blue alien eye again.
And the CPO's up in the top roots.
You can't see anything. And Malala baby, but I don't see it. I see a full-grown adult.
Yeah, that's the baby right there.
Oh, next. Yeah, I don't know.
No. Wait. No, up. Isn't that the baby right there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right next to it. That thing is tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just. It looks like you're taking a picture on a flip phone at this point. You can always see these too. There's a lot of people's journals. I think Grant was the most active for the longest, which is posting, but there's a couple people that did pretty good on posting their own journal. First pumpkin shrimp.
And there's also like journals where people like actively try to breed out certain crosses, and you can see the results. And that's where I learned a lot of my genetics. So it's a lot of like relying on certain breeders, like in here, Soothing Shrimp, Malfi. Those were breeders that I could trust and use their information to base off my own judgment when breeding.
When every time I see y'all say Red Really, I keep hearing Red Rover, Sing Grant right over. You can have them. Yep, almost to 15K. I couldn't believe how fast it's going, honestly.
I wish I had some time to do that tank stand build, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to it until after Global. But next week we'll be at Global, and we'll have to do a live stream from the hotel. There's no other way to get around that.
Yep, unless we're out to dinner. We're definitely not live streaming until later.
Next week's live stream might be at a different date. We might do like one on Sunday or something then.
Johnny said black Tybee and blue bolts. What do you think?
So that's a great one. You'll make some interesting Tybees there. It doesn't really matter what blue or what Taiwan bee you use. So blue bolts is fine. Some of the orange. I remember the first time we bought orange Neos, we bought 6 different bags of 20 shrimp just to keep like 12 to start breeding. And this is what they looked like back then.
Yeah, they weren't that great. Oh, yep, there's the, I'm just glad that wasn't full. Discus, specific tiger discus. They don't even look fancy. They look like nothing. We wasted money so many times.
So they lost color.
We wasted money so many times on things. Snails. Yeah, there were apple snails we weren't allowed to have.
I think those are mystery snails. But
beautiful spider lilies. So like one of my favorite. They actually are all over Florida. They're so cool. But like we still have some out in the pond actually. Not this one, but one of the IBC totes that blooms every year. I have a bunch of these actually in my front garden, and we thought they were a different type of lily. And
I thought they were amaryllis, not these.
No, I knew that they weren't amaryllis because they're shaped different, but I didn't know that they were spider lilies. Spider lilies need a ton of water. So after years of them not blooming, I decided to water the heck out of them last year. And finally found out that they were spider lilies because I got them to bloom. But we already got saddled females and pregnant one right there in the center.
Oh, I know what's going to happen to all these guys, so it's a little bit sad.
Blue diamonds.
The blue diamonds, still throwing all different colors, trying to get more of the line going so I can break them off into their own.
A Colombian pleco.
Yeah, I don't even remember getting that or making this post whatsoever.
No, we got a lot of plecos throughout our years for sure. Oh,
and now we got some more axolotls.
Oh, he was so cute. Oh, look at the one in the back too.
Yeah, that's our original one.
They were so cute. The kids absolutely had a blast watching those.
And the cholla wood, there's so much of it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
And we used to feed a lot of live blackworms back when the live blackworm supply was still gold. You can get like a pound of blackworms for $20. It was great. Look at that Cladophora. Oh my god.
This actually, I believe this was from one of those moss balls, like the Mario balls.
Maybe, but we had also thrown a bunch of plants in there. But
that's just a molt.
This might be proof of Dr. Anthony, because I believe the rabbit snails ended up taking that out. So yeah,
we didn't have it for very long.
Got some CBS buried some crystal blacks after he struggled for so long, and we threw it into the right parameters, and bam.
I did just take a picture of it. Claws just hanging out.
I have no idea.
So weird.
I don't know.
You're like, this looks cool. What is that?
Scroll up. It was like fungus or something, like possible eggs, or I don't know what kind of what that was from in the pea puffer tank. But I was trying to figure it out.
Not possible eggs.
I don't know.
What is that?
Eggs are some type of fungus. Maybe it was eggs, and then the eggs got eaten off of that. I don't know. More cholla wood.
Snails.
I got some babies underneath the.
Ugh, gross. Sorry. I know that there is. Zach said, blue, green emeralds. Are those harder to achieve color with the emeralds? I assume heavily selected to get that color.
Are you talking about the Rillies? Because the Rillies I bought from someone else, and they've just been breeding pretty true.
Emeralds in general, because emeralds are technically like a blue-green instead of the jades, which are more like a green with yellow. I would say that green emeralds have more of a blue hue to them.
I don't know.
Lakeisha said, I remember some of these pics from back in the day. I was still a noob then. It's crazy you remember these. Nathan said, TGOE, maybe do a question and answer only live next week. Let the chat run the stream conversation.
We definitely need to do like one of those once a month. So I gotta figure out. Maybe we do the first Monday of every month. We do that, or we'll figure that one out. But that'll probably be a good one for next week, since we won't really have the ability to do a solid topic.
Yeah.
We'll be in Orlando for Global Pet Expo.
Yeah. And we have a dinner planned, so not sure what time that's going to be at. Sometimes they run a little late. There's absolutely nothing in this photo. Like, I can't find any shrimp. That's awful.
There's a baby in there somewhere.
It's
the ultimate.
Oh, trumpet
Where's
snails.
Waldo?
Yeah. You know, this is the beginning of the end. They never leave.
We had them way before this picture. That's just what we pulled out. No, this is what we went collecting.
Yeah.
We found all those at the preserves.
Yeah.
And then we found that shrimp with the weird patch on it. And I can't remember what that little thing crab is. And it might be similar to the crab we caught last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear that crab was buried and that big.
Look at all the babies. So cute.
Yeah, I just wish the alien and I bred cooler babies that were worth more money and more popular, because there was no demand for them after you sold like 3 of them. But here we had the outdoor grow ponds where we took out the vegetables and started growing actual aquarium plants. The dwarf baby tears did really well for us out there. Same with the dwarf not water lettuce, the dwarf hairgrass. But we were really trying to get these guys like going. I liked them so much. It seemed like the pet stores went through them a lot. I thought the demand for them would be a lot higher, and they just weren't.
This is how frustrating crayfish are, though. Like, we definitely thought it died at this point. If the tank was like heavily planted and you only see this, most people think that their crayfish dies. That's how good the molts look. It's ridiculous. Like, she's in here in the little hide. Like, you can see her little claw in the corner, and all her babies are eating her molt. What a nice mom. This blue bolt looking nice. I feel like these are some of the shrimp you eventually entered into the shrimp contest.
And then you got the waterfall moss really growing nice in the top now. But that second piece of wood that I added in there or whatever was a mistake. I eventually took that out.
Yeah.
And still
Isn't
so
that
many
purple
sideways.
waffle plant?
No, that's the
Scarlet
Temple.
Scarlet Temple.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of them that just didn't make the cut.
We will have some of that for the show this weekend.
Oh.
And then the electric blue Acara.
Those were so
Oh, we'll see if we get to pictures of these
cool.
guys.
Why do we always have like some random fish in with all our cichlids?
That's just a molly, I think.
Yeah, just that's so funny. Mollies like to photobomb. Here's the babies.
Loads of baby crawfish starting to grow up. Snapping turtle just basking. He's getting some big sass to him. Lots of plants now.
This is when we tried putting plants in a Sulawesi tank. They don't last very long in that high of pH and too hard of water.
The water's so warm too. A lot of the plants don't like it.
We still have this tank going. This actually is the tank that has isopods in it now, but looks nothing like this.
Yeah,
This actually looks terrible compared to what it is.
I've gone through and escaped it several times. It'll be in this, the first rescape.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ran out of space for the crawfish, so we started making a hotel out in the tiki bar out of 5-gallon buckets for them. So that was a lot of fun. Tiki bar is currently empty. Yeah, there's nothing really to talk about here. Just a lot of cholla wood, baby caradina shrimp. The plants are, you can see they're really starting to grow outside from when I first planted them.
They're huge.
Yeah.
This is when it started to flood and you had to fix it after that.
I was always constantly trying to mess with that and get it to flow in the right way the best we could. Let's make this 13 the last one we do, and then we catch up with chat and call it a night.
We're up on chat.
We're all the way caught up on chat.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe we do one more.
Yeah. And then this is a cardinal tank, but I have no idea why you took a picture of this.
I don't know. Go down to the next one. Maybe just a bunch of different cardinals going out.
Yeah.
Lots of different stuff going on.
It's already rescaped already.
Yeah, I already took everything out.
It goes through a lot of stages. More mineral balls and the tigers.
Got them in their own
so
tank.
So weird.
And then those are like the first tangerine tigers we got. Look
awful.
how bad they were.
We got someone's culls.
Oh, yeah.
We need to find them. Who gave you those?
I used to have such a bad problem trying to get shrimp at this point because everybody knew if I bought shrimp, I was going to breed them and start selling them too. So I had to start using Eddie to buy shrimp for me.
Have a good night. Lakeisha says, can't wait to see you guys at Aquamania. Yes, can't wait to see you there.
I'll see you this weekend.
Safe travels. I know you don't got far at least. So
have a good night. More red, really blue body, more orange eyes.
Is this your first crossing?
No, those are.
Why is there yellow in
there? Those. Sure? I don't know. I don't know what those are doing in there.
This one looks like your first shrimp.
Those might be my first black tiger orange eyes. And then we got our first pintos, first tibies.
This is where you started to lose me again.
Yeah.
I was like, these are ugly. Some of them. Some were cool, but definitely lost my interest a little bit. Still love the cardinals.
And then there's that tank again. When we first got that tank, we bought it for like $100. And I asked the guy, how much did he want for all of the red crystal shrimp? And he responded, and I never saw the email. And then he got back to me again and was like, if you buy all of them for $100, I'll give you the tank for free. And I was like, whoa, I'll definitely do that deal. Sorry, I didn't see your other message. Like, I would have taken that too. This is Shelby's first saltwater jellyfish upside down tank, but we couldn't find jellyfish for it.
It never turned into one.
We bought that other tank. It had 140 red crystal shrimp chilling in a bucket and then the tank. And I went to go fill up the tank because that still had a ton of crystal shrimp babies in it still. And then while I'm filling up the tank, Layla just started walking and walked over to the bucket and flipped it up on the ground. So it was funny because the next day I'm looking at a tank with about 138 red crystals because it took 2 red crystals for us to figure out how sensitive red crystal shrimp legs were. And we were using a paper to get them off of the floor and into the right tank. So
I find this funny to look at this picture thinking we had bought a lot of rock and like this was gonna look so good, and it literally doesn't even fill up a quarter of this tank. It is like no rock at all, but this was for
it's not
our
bad
black
rock
chick.
layout though. If you
It's
had
not
some
bad.
really good like pieces of wood on each side, this isn't that bad.
Oh,
Like,
it's cringy.
it's not that bad. Like I see some rocks in like some really horrible placement.
Mhm.
That just needs more rocks or a smaller tank.
Here was our first saltwater. Instead of doing the jellyfish, we continued and just decided to do a saltwater tank. And nano was, don't ever start with a nano for your first saltwater tank if it's your first. They are harder to control the parameters. We did good for a little bit, and it definitely did great, but it crashed pretty fast, unfortunately, and that was my fault. Not as easy as
It was
freshwater.
my fault. I was throwing a lot of stuff in there and buying a lot of cheap corals just because I want stuck in that I gotta catch them all mentality, and so we wanted basically all of the different varieties of corals we could get in that little tank.
Tangerine tigers bearing up. Nice. Some other shrimp. Are those red king Kongs?
No, I think those are my Bloody Marys that I was
mixed with
getting from
crystals.
my blue diamonds.
Mm.
And then there's
at
the
one
teddy
point
bear cholla.
This just shows you that we at one point didn't have enough tanks for all the shrimp, that we just couldn't combine them with Caridina and Neos because they couldn't breed together. I remember that. There was only
the right substrate though in that tank for those. I
Yeah.
think we're still waiting for those other tanks to cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yep, teddy bear cola. Oh gosh. That one was the messiest. I believe that one lasted the longest in the tank, but became the messiest. Oh, look at them. They're so pretty.
So this is
I
what's
miss
such
them
a
so
sad,
much.
sad thing. I fed these guys, went to work, came home from work, and their tank was cracked. And the only thing alive was the Plecos. But yeah, I miss those.
And there's the tankscape again.
It's growing out nicely.
This page is actually pretty long. A
Lots
lot
of
more
pintos,
pictures.
tybes, snow white, lots of buried shrimp,
Yeah, we're doing
oranges,
really good at
orange
this
eye
point.
blue tigers.
This is the same picture you
Then we
posted.
got a clam.
Yeah, this thing was so cool.
We got a hermit crab.
I'm the worst
some
with
zoas,
this too. I was like, yeah, get this. Yeah, that sounds great. This looks cool.
peppermint shrimp.
Yeah, this person says great start. We were doing terrible. That was such a bad idea. And then we're sending out some packages. This is so cringy. It hasn't improved that much. I mean,
The Colombian ram's horn snails.
You don't
I still
see these as much.
Yeah, but we have a spot in South Florida where we can collect these. So
that's cool.
I'm definitely gonna go down there and get some when we get a tank running inside.
I miss these. Oh, I didn't even remember these.
That tank was doing so well for us. We were doing water changes, getting into a groove, and then one day out of nowhere, woke up one morning after we did water changes the day before, like we had always done, and all the fish in the tank were dead except for the Plecos. Dang Plecos.
Mm-hmm. Buried cardinal shrimp. That was a great picture
Horrible
to get.
photo.
It's still a great picture to get, though. It's hard to get any of those. There was some questions. Jamie said, will Stardust and orange-eyed blue tiger cross? If so, what would they throw?
So far, nobody has been able to cross Stardust with anything. There's been a couple of scenarios where somebody might have done it, but nothing is set in stone. So you would make something brand new. So go for it.
Chrissy said, how do you handle raccoons, etc., with the ponds?
All right. So I thought this was a shrimp question, and I was going to answer with a smart aleck with like a real raccoon answer, but now it's a real raccoon answer. Yeah, we let the window open for too long. So with our ponds, we have the dogs have free range out back, and I don't think the raccoons are interested in the IBC totes with the shrimp or anything like that. Also, they're pretty deep, and from my understanding, raccoons want to try and catch the fish on the shore and like the shallow, like first foot of water. So I'm pretty sure our area also doesn't have a raccoon issue. I'm more worried about this dang egret that just gets too friendly with our house, and then the cats. I'm more worried about and concerned about cats.
Asher said, I think that's the first mistake of any new scaper. There's never enough hardscape or plants. Yeah. I actually struggled with the hardscape forever. I still to this day struggle that I'll get like most of it done and then I'll realize there is a good like quarter of the tank that's not filled. And it's not really good to leave that much space. That's unused space in aquascaping, as you're familiar with. And it's like one thing I will always struggle with. Grant's really good at hardscape. I'm good with wood and things like that to fill up the tanks, but hardscape, getting it to be stable and not collapse is like one of the hardest things for me. They're not Legos. They're much harder. Vibes, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Says me off the bed. Thanks for the live stream. Bye.
And Ashley,
Thanks, Vibes.
Oh, thank you so much for Vibes. But Ashley, that's also the problem when like trying to set up aquariums for people. They expect the tank to be filled and they don't realize like the price per pound is like $3 or $4 for most of the cool hardscapes. Wood is expensive, and then for some of our hardscapes, we put 200 to 300 pounds in there.
Yeah,
so
that's insane.
It's expensive to get all that, to get that look. So you see some of these professionally done aquascapes for some people where they're, for customer clients, and it's like you can understand their budget was on the scaper, not on the hardscape.
Nate said tangerine tigers and blue tiger cross.
So you're not really going to get anything other than you could potentially, if they're orange eyes, make orange-eyed tangerine tigers, but they're not legit orange-eyed tangerine tigers because it's not from mutation. So you technically have to call it something else, but you can make orange-eyed orange tigers that way.
It's the first time you got Hydra.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's in the picture, but the kids threw something in the tank. And apparently that's after that we got Hydra. It's crazy. I wish we had a picture of it, though. It would have been so cool to actually see a picture of it.
I'm fairly certain I get to pictures here in a little bit, but got a tangerine tabby. I didn't know that these were called tang tai at the time, crossed with one of the crystal black shrimps. So this is one of our earliest crossbreeding projects today. If you still buy out of our tang tai colony, this is it. This is the original one. This is the 40-gallon tank in our hallway on the bottom.
It's still there. Ooh,
way better picture.
Wow, look at that. That's almost professional there.
Not all, not even close there, but
with that camera.
And then the blues, the Neo blues are definitely getting a little bit nicer, but we got a little bit, 7 minutes. A couple things I want to talk about before we dive off in the chat. If you watched last week's live stream, we did have a giveaway. I did not have a chance yet to go through the entire house to count all the aquariums, including the ones that aren't set up yet. So empty tanks, setup tanks, reptile tanks, turtle tanks, all the tanks. How many are there? And the first person to get it right will win the $50 gift card. So we haven't done that. I didn't have time. We'll do that probably next week if I can get to that. But we also had 2 guests this week. The first one was Mimic Nature. Came by the house, grabbed some shrimp, hung out, really had a great time. Was able to tell him a bunch of stories I can't necessarily tell on stream, thinking about some other ones. And I see some people are commenting here, and it's not in this live chat. You need to go comment on the last live from last week, not this week's live. So commenting in chat will not get you the right answer here. I can see Jeff Kane at 300. I can tell you it's higher than that. So but Other than hanging out with Josh, telling stories and stuff like that, it was just really cool to geek out and show him all of the shrimp and everything we got going on. He's really into a lot of the crosses, so I could point out a few things. Josh, if you're watching, if you noticed today's post on Instagram or Facebook, that shrimp has a little birthmark. Some of you are wondering, what do you mean shrimp birthmark? Well, that's a little insider that you'll have to wait for another video, another day. But there are some special things going around in the house that just haven't had a time to do a video on or point it out. And eventually we will get to all those things. But Josh definitely got to see some of the behind of the scenes. And we went out to dinner, had some Thai food, and it was just a really great time being able to hang out with you, Josh. And then the other one was Mike Clarkson. He did a talk for our club. There's a snake in my tank on aquatic snakes, and it's really super interesting. It kind of merges both aspects of our hobby. We really like turtles, and there's some aquatic snakes out there where you can play with the morphs. There's some out there that have no interest in biting you at all. You just pick them up and they just like kind of go limp like a stick. And, that's their defense mechanism, and they no interest in biting you at all. So,
well, they can't move out of the tank.
Yeah. So, looking forward into having some future projects and stuff like that. We're going to do some trades, get rid of some of the fish in the house that he wanted. He wants some opaula, some isopods, and some other things like that. So we'll get Jaden his snake and, go down an interesting niche hobby that there's not a lot of people in it. And a big reason is there's not a lot of reptile people that have experience with aquariums, and there's not a lot of aquarium people that have experience with reptiles. And we kind of have both. We kind of started with fish, got into reptiles, and then got out of reptiles and got into fish, but we still have the newts, the sirens, the turtles, the leopard geckos. Shelby's part reptile, so we still got Shelby. No, I'm just kidding. She just really whatever likes the warmth more than I can imagine. So
yeah, I'm the person that sits out in the sun and bask. I have to bask.
But we also have a Sam Scale print we can give away real quick if you want. There's 65 people. We lost 10 of them, so these are the troopers. We just lost one. They'll come back. They're like, oh, did he just mention giveaway? So whoever that is going to have to rewatch the ad and come back to figure out. But we got a Sam Scale giveaway to do. We've been cruising through the subscribers. If this was your first live stream with us tonight, welcome. It's a little abnormal from what we usually do, and hopefully, do a good one here in the near future to make up for it. Hashtag troopers.
That's what Coro put, so we're going with it.
All right. Coro's already signed up. It works, yeah. We got 3 people. You guys must have told your friends. Garden of Eaters doing a giveaway. Sam Scales print. So, yeah, I'm just saying we should do a giveaway every 1,000 subscribers. And I know we've gotten a couple since our last live stream, but I'm not going to do that math or try and figure that one out. We're just going to do one simple one for the climb that we've been doing every week. It's been great watching every morning, seeing how many subscribers we've gained up, and seeing all the views on the videos. And it's been a great little trip with everyone. So you can see how far we've been posting information now for 9 years, and it's just now starting to
so cringy.
Make
it is
up
so
for
funny
it.
Though. It's like, I don't know. So many people get so down on themselves, and I mean, I made multiple mistakes with my fish, and I still continue to make mistakes with fish. Regardless of, like putting them in the wrong housing. Like people will tell you the wrong things. Like you'll ask breeders, and they're like, "Oh, they're fine in this," but they're not. They just want to sell you the fish and just be like, it makes it easier for them. So sometimes you just got to make sure you do the research. One hard lesson that I got to continue to learn all the time. So um, don't be down on yourself if you're not breeding. Maybe you just need to switch to a different shrimp, a different fish. You know, something likes your water. There is going to be something in the hobby. There's ones that range from like the most ridiculous water parameters to some of the other ones. You know, it's you just gotta find the right what is it, niche for yourself. You know, we do well with some things and not so well with the other ones. We get rid of those.
You got to get into your groove and stay with it. There's a lot of people who just have really good content. We were talking about this just the other night. Joseph Harden used to do the news. Do you know how great it would be for one of the fish fan people like Jeff Kane, who's in every single chat, or Elijah Vibes, who's out there, DD, even you guys, Stephen P. You guys watch so many live streams, you support so many people. But Joseph used to do was the news, and once a week he would just, all right, guys, and would run it just like the newscast, and he'd have his paper, and he'd be like, so in other news, we have the Garden of Eden, who just recently set up their new rack of 110 tanks for Shelby's Killies fish, Gadeids, and blah, 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 blah. And that would be like a minute segment. And then he'd move on to, oh, this is what Crypt Keeper's got going on, where he just recently set up a tank behind jail bars. And, you know, like just quick pictures and let people know. And then down below have links. And I really thought that guy still probably has more subs than we do. And I really thought that he was just going to be the next big thing, because I didn't have time to watch everybody's channels back then. And we were going to Aquascaping, and we were hanging out with a lot of these people. And then, you know, this person would be like, so did you see that I was doing this? And I'd be like, yeah, I did see that. And it had this going on and this going on. And they thought I watched their video. And really all I just watched was the news on Joseph Harden's, which, you know, makes the person feel good because it makes them think that I'm watching their video. But in reality, I just don't have time to watch everybody's videos. But there's a lot of great content out there. A lot of people are doing some really cool stuff. But what I would do is I would see like, oh, so-and-so's doing this. If you are interested in it, then I would go over and watch the full length of what that person was doing in their video. So you get to kind of sort through the good and the bad stuff of what you can have time for. So, but like that guy just fell off and stopped doing it. So his channel kind of just fell off too. So if you can just stick to it, I think that we've like really set a tone to like every Monday, let's constantly get this live stream done. And I think it's paying off for us. And we're doing our live stream and content where people want to watch it afterwards. So a lot of our lives will get views years afterwards because they're still relevant today. You got something to say, Shelby?
No,
you got to say it to everybody.
You're expecting him to take notes and try to remember anything, and he just said, "My headphones are dying. Someone else has to take notes." Yeah, no, that person just like spent the day and went through everyone that he knew was doing, you know, YouTube, and would go and watch the video. Who knows if he even watched it all the way and just like didn't like skip forward to like key points, because you do that on YouTube, and would write it down, and it would give, you know, people like incentive to go watch that YouTube or see things that are going on, or sum it up for people that don't like watching YouTube that often. It's very rare I see Grant even sit on the phone half the time anymore, unless he's messaging customers, and we're lucky if we get to all the emails at this point. So,
and again, if anybody's waiting for me to reply to anything, please send me a reminder. You're not bothering me at this point. I'm just trying to play catch up, and there's a lot of messages out there, but I would like to answer and respond to each and every one of you. So please send the reminders, because if I haven't gotten to it, it's buried, and everything should be responded to. Shelby went through and sent out the gift cards for everybody. Tuesday, Wednesday this week, we'll go through and send out everybody's new membership cards. If you want it early, though, you can email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com, and we can send you that 10% off code. You can place your order, and then we can include the sticker with your order. So let's get the giveaway done.
Well, you tried. So did y'all get to 500 tanks yet? Don't answer. You got to guess on last week's live stream how many you think we got. We'll announce it next week on how many we have.
And it's not how many tanks are set up. It's how many tanks are in the house.
Are you talking about empty ones too?
Empty ones too, yes. I want everyone to...
Holy cow.
Yes, I clarified that in the live stream last time. So it is empty ones, set up ones. It's all of them.
All right, let me refresh. Last
just Cora.
Chance for hashtag troopers to get in for that giveaway. You got me. Sorry, that's so good.
I really thought Josh was going to walk through the house and count. But like, even if you did that, he doesn't know how many are in the bedroom. If you had any in the closet, did you check the bathroom? You know, there's a lot of places we can hide tanks.
Yeah. I don't remember who it was this weekend that asked me why we don't have any in the bathroom. I was like, we did. I moved the mud skipper out. The kids were stressing them out with the lights going on and off. So it's just not a good, unless I had like a lid with a light for that tank, but I didn't. Tristan said, are you going to attend Aquashella Dallas in May? Yes, we will be there.
Even though there is an ALA, aka IBC show going on in our own backyard, crazy enough, we are going to Dallas instead. But
yeah, we had already had Dallas and it was already pre-planned. Otherwise, we would have probably went to our one in Tampa, so close, and would have been easier for us. I know everybody there, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. So I'm very upset I'm missing it. But yeah, Aquachella had already had us pre-planned and ready to go. So
I'm on Aquacella's front page on educators. I should not be the person for educators.
All right.
I'll take it though.
Let's draw this. Sorry. Keep hitting the wrong refresh button. Everyone's watching me struggle. Okay, 42. Sibley. Make sure you comment down below. Make sure you're still here. I see Catahula. It says, do mugs, glasses, cups, bowls, and containers count towards the total number of tanks? No, that would be crazy.
No.
We have so many mugs, it's ridiculous. Like, that would be insane.
And I'm kind of like against the whole like counting containers as tanks thing.
Congratulations, Sibley. Make sure to email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com your address so that we can get that out to you.
Or you can just message me on Facebook. That'd be fine too.
You better get it out.
I will.
It's his fault if he doesn't get it out. Just remember this. Mark my words. Okay. All right. We're done for the night. Well, I appreciate all of you, all 69 of you that toughed it out with us the whole time. Through our cringy past, and it was only half of it. We didn't even get to like some of the good parts where we're starting to get a little bit better. It just sucks you didn't post like any of the cute pictures on the journals. We have like cute pictures of the kids standing in front of the tanks. Like Jaden's first water change isn't on there.
We will. I'm pretty sure we get to
I went through the whole thing.
Oh, you went through the whole thing, eh?
Yeah, I was bored, and I just wanted to see how many times Grant mentioned something that was mine and in my hobby, and he decided to take full credit for it. So, but then I found one singular post out of the years that he gave me credit. And
made up for all of it.
All of it, you know?
Yeah. One thing before you leave, if anybody is interested in joining the American Shrimp Contest, you should be able to sign up now. But I just looked on my phone, and there's no way for me to do it on my phone. So if anybody can successfully sign up for the American Shrimp Contest, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to message Jonathan tomorrow and figure out when he'll have that ready for us to get signups rolling. All right. Thank you, everybody. And
Did you get a message from?
we did have a new ice cream place. How did I not talk about that?
No.
It wasn't that good. That's why. It was
was-
all right.
it was good.
They just don't have any immaculate flavors, and they were pretty busy. So I think the ice cream the freezers were open, and the ice cream was just softer than but I prefer it. But it's not bad. It's a good little change of scenery. Maybe in a few months, some of their bad flavors will be rotated out for something different.
If he doesn't get back to you in a couple days, yes, email me. Everyone, have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.